Now open Mary, Our Lady of Peace Mausoleum in Flushing, New York. Secure your family's future with 10% down, no taxes, and 0% interest financing for up to 10 years on pre-need crypts and cremation niches starting at just $25 per month. Protect your loved ones with the gift of pre-planning. Visit them today at Mount St. Mary Cemetery. Call 718-353-1560. That's 718-353-1560 or go to ccbklyn.org to learn more. That's ccbklyn.org.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Katz and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Tonight, in a little bit of time, we are going to see J.D. Vance versus Tim Walz in the big vice presidential debate. And John, our next guest, knows Tim Walz.
Senator Norm Coleman, a Brooklynite, but he moved west.
Transplanted to the great state of Minnesota. Transplanted to the great state. But I can take, John, you can take the boy out of Brooklyn. You can't take Brooklyn out of the boy.
Absolutely. Senator, you lived in Minneapolis. Did you, Minnesota? And did you know this Tim Walz?
Of course, I know.
Give us a briefing to all the American people listening right now.
So it's really important that, when they picked him, they were saying, this is a guy with Midwestern roots, rural values. He's going to appeal to the working men and women in rural communities. Point of fact, he got 31% of the vote in the most rural district in Minnesota, congressional district. He got hammered in every rural congressional district. I described him as Gavin Newsom in a flannel shirt and bad hair, less hair. I mean, he is way to the left. We're talking about a governor who has given sanctuary, city policies in terms of driver's licenses, health care, and free college tuition to illegal immigrants, making Minnesota a sanctuary state for trans surgery for kids. Went through a $18 billion surplus, cut through it in one legislative session, and by the way, then increased taxes $10 billion and increased the size of government 40%. And probably worse, for I think the country saw during the George Floyd riots, he let Minneapolis burn down. He literally didn't call out the National Guard for 3 days. And why, John, and why Rita? Because he was in sync with the protesters, with the rioters, with the arsonists. And so that's who you got. So, I mean, he is, if she's the most liberal member of the Senate, he may be the liberal governor of the governors. And so that's what you got, liberal and more liberal, and very dangerous for America.
Yeah, that's my question, Senator. It's great to talk to you again. I'm thinking of Americans who are watching this tonight. What do they need to know, and how big of a concern is it, big picture, for this country, and how different will this country look if it's a Kamala Harris, Tim Walz administration?
Well, can I tell you one place where we'll look, because we're talking about it tonight, and that's Israel. I mean, Israel under attack, Israel under fire. And I'm going to say it up front, August 30th, withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Iranian mullahs looked at that and they said this country is weak. Putin looked at that and said this country is weak. You wouldn't have the devastation and destruction that occurred on October 7th a year ago with Hamas. You wouldn't have Iran doing what they're doing now, hurling 180 missiles at Israel. And so I think Israel's very existence is at stake. And I say that I'm national chairman of the Republican Jewish Coalition. This is so close to my heart. Been to Israel a number of times since the tragedy of October 7th. This is an administration that withheld weapons, that told Israel don't go into Rafah, that's trying to micromanage. They were telling them, ceasefire the day after October 7th. Now a ceasefire now. What's the response if someone comes in and kicks the heck out of you? What are you supposed to hold up your hands and walk away? And so you're going to have, God forbid, Harris Walz get in office, and Israel, it continues to be under siege, and America's just not going to be there to the degree it has to be. And so for those of us who care about the Jewish state, this election is literally life or death.
Yes, I think, the whole world is depending on the United States of America, Washington, D.C., to keep the whole world free. And unless, Craig Eaton, you were saying it, and Governor Patterson, you were saying it, that right now, if this election doesn't go correctly, and then we may lose this whole country.
This is the end of the world if this election doesn't go the right way. We've had generals on it that have talked about confrontations around the world. We've never had this many confrontations and wars around the world, ever.
Absolutely. Governor Pataki.
I feel bad talking in these apocalyptic terms. That's not my nature, But this is real. That's the place where we're at. And right now, by the way, John, the world's depending on Israel to stand up to Islamic terrorists.
They do have the courage,
right? But they can't. It is so critically important that the United States stand by its side. And not be second guessing, not be holding out arms, not to have the Senate Majority Leader call for the replacement of the democratically elected Prime Minister of Israel. And so, we're
Joe Biden gave him a little bit of stuff, which was good, but I don't believe Harris would give him anything.
Well, and in part because we haven't said it, but who's ascendant in the Democrat Party today? It's the squad. It's Bernie Sanders. It's the left. They are the loudest voices. The kids on college campuses who are Jewish students facing an onslaught of anti-Semitism that I don't think we've seen in this country before. And you got this crowd talking about, well, those folks have a point. Yeah, their point is to want to kill the Jews. Their point is from the river to the sea. That's not a point that you and I and your listeners and Americans across the political spectrum really want to agree with. But that's whose voices are the loudest. That's whose voices being heard, and that's whose voices will prevail if Harris and Walz are successful on November 5th.
Absolutely. And you know what also is such a disgrace, Senator, too, is that as we're looking at Kamala Harris and Biden, they have been angrier at Israel than they have about Iran. If you listen to their statements, it is preposterous. Governor Pataki has a question for you.
Senator, it's not just about defense of the Jewish state in Israel. It's about Israel defending the values of all of Western society. This is good against evil. This is the rule of law and tolerance against intolerance and barbarism. So this is not just those who support the Jewish state's fight. It's all of our fight that if we believe in the rule of law and tolerance. So I thank you for leading the charge on that. My question is, Israel has a limited period of time. The election is 35 days away. If Harris and Walz get in, they may well put great restrictions on Israel's ability to react to something like the attack from Iran today. Do you think that would propel Israel now to engage in a counterattack, a response to the Iranian attack that could have significant consequences towards freedom in Iran?
First, Governor, there's great wisdom in both your statements. One, that Israel, they're protecting Western values. This is right and wrong. This is good and evil. And they're out there, protecting us. And so it's not just Israel against Hamas. This is values of good and evil. That's what's at play here. I would hate to kind of get into those hypotheticals because I fear that what you're saying is right. That Israel may be in a position, it would be in a position where they did not believe that they had the full support of the United States, that the voices of the squad and the others are going to prevail and kind of hold them back from being able to protect the Jewish state, that they'll need to do whatever they have to do in order to survive. And by the way, they will. They will. It is never again. Okay? We're not going down that route. They're not going to go meekly in the night. These Jews are going to fight. And so I hope and I pray that we don't get to that place. But both points you raise they're spot on. Hey, can I say one thing just about the debate about Tim Walz?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah,
please.
He's got a very short fuse. He's got a very short fuse. For somebody who's been in the public arena, and, he's kind of downplaying his expert a long time. I've watched him in debates. He doesn't like to be criticized. There's an arrogance about him that leads to a short fuse. And I hope that JD can light that fuse. Yeah,
let's hope so. And by the way, before we let you go, Senator, Happy New Year, too. Happy Rosh Hashanah. Many prayers to you. It's great to have you here. Thank you.
Always a joy. Thank you so much. Take care, Rita. Take care, John.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you.
Janine Pirro here for Colonial Metals Group. Colonial Metals Group helps Americans protect their future with the most trusted store of wealth in human history. Physical gold and silver. If you're retiring or retired, go to colonialmetalsgroup.com/Pirro for your free Janine Pirro Colonial Metals Group Retirement Protection Kit, or call 800-965-8004. 800-965-8004 now to receive a free home safe and up to $7,500 in free silver.